All right, so thanks everybody for attending and for joining us today. And this is going to be a much more technical training than we normally do, which is going specifically into interfaces. And the main prerequisite to this is that you understand at least a little bit about Visual KPI. And as I understand, everybody on the call here has already seen Visual KPI and knows a bit about it. So that's a good start. Now, the most important thing to think about interfaces has nothing to do with technology at all, has nothing to do with software, and it's what's on the screen right now. And that is that interfaces don't really mean much if you run into a customer that has no idea where the data lives in their data sources, or what data sources it lives in, or how to get at it. All right. So as you'll see in the future, this is an exercise of requirements gathering and understanding that, you know, if you come across an application and someone wants to get at the data, if they only use the application and don't have any understanding of where the data lives, then it might be a very difficult road and it won't have much to do with the interface. So the training today is more about once you know what data you want to get at and where it lives, and in most cases that's the customer that knows that. In some cases that will be yourselves that will need to go investigate and figure out where that lives. The reality is once we know what data we want and where it lives and how to get at it, then that's when you start to approach an interface. So an interface is just or let me walk you through the agenda here and then I'll switch it over to Christian and he can talk a little bit about some of these things. So we'll talk about what actually an interface is made up of and what it means. We have something called a remote context service, which is another way to get data, but a different kind of data, and we'll talk about that briefly. We'll talk about the various types of interfaces and data sources that we can interface with and how we interface to them. And then we'll get into some more of the meat here, which is what do you need to have to build an interface or to create an interface, a little bit about authentication and security, and then a whole bunch of, I'd put the last two bullets almost together, but things to worry about when it comes to performance and a whole bunch of other topics of just best practices and things to be aware of when it comes to an interface.